Hey guys, welcome to today's video. We are here for a very exciting video because I am a neutral lover. I love a neutral eyeshadow, but lately I like to kind of dip into the color, get a little pop, look a little extra. So I have 10 eyeshadow palettes sitting in front of me that I feel like are neutrals, but with a twist, with a little pop, with a little something extra. So whether you're a neutral lover who likes to dabble in color, or if you are a color lover, but you like to dabble in the neutrals, these are the palettes that I think are the best of both worlds. If you're new, hello and welcome. My name is Kelly and I love all things makeup and beauty. I love talking, I love makeup, I love talking about makeup. So if you like to chat about makeup too, I would love to have you subscribe. If you're makeup obsessed, if you're a neutral lover who likes to dabble in some color, this is the spot for you. But why don't we go ahead and start talking about some eyeshadow palettes. Also gonna hope and pray that you cannot hear my neighbors celebrating in the background. They're playing their music very loudly, which does not bother me. It's the middle of the day. They can do that if they want, but I don't wanna get demonetized. So I'm hoping the camera is not picking it up. Now, I'm not necessarily going in any order, but some of these I feel like may surprise you and some of them may be dead giveaways. So we'll start with one that I feel like is a dead giveaway, and that is this eyeshadow palette right here. This was the Lunar Beauty Laura Lee Los Angeles Full Fantasy collab. I absolutely love this eyeshadow palette. I have the Lunar Beauty Nude Prism, which I love as well. I did a comparison. I have videos with these palettes, so I will link those down below. But I talked about this in comparison with the Nude Prism. The Nude Prism is like, if you're just a neutral lover and that's all you want are neutrals, the Nude Prism is for you. But if you are someone who is a neutral lover, you have your safe tones here, you have your pops of gold, but if you want to dabble in color, we have these rich cranberry shades. We have this like blue cranberry and Aries, absolutely love it. You're gonna see some pictures of me wearing these shadows as I pop them up on the screen, and there is a picture of me wearing this Aries shade that I absolutely love, and I've recreated that look several times. You can also get dark and smoky down here and go very deep, very vampy, very smoky. This Full Fam shade is like very pink, but pink with like a punch and pink with some sparkle and shimmer. So I feel like whether you are a color lover or whether you are a neutral girly, this is a great palette. It's a great option because it's very versatile. You have the lighter shades, you have the deeper shades. I really love the formula of Lunar Beauty. I have not tried just Laura Lee Los Angeles, but these feel very similar to the Lunar Beauty formula, and they're great. The mattes are creamy and blendable. The shimmers do have some extra sparkle, but it's not like the chunky glitter kind. If you do have texture on your eyes, these may accentuate the texture a little bit, but they're beautiful. They're absolutely stunning. So of course I had to talk about this one. Another palette that I feel like may be a dead giveaway, Natasha Denona, My Dream. Of course I had to have a Natasha Denona palette in here because I love Natasha Denona so much, but I feel like the My Dream palette is very dreamy. That's cheesy, I know, but it is so dreamy. Of course you have neutral shades in here. They lean a little bit warmer, but you do have some browns over here if you don't want the rich peaches. You do have a deep shade over here. Of course you have Babies, which seems to be more of a topper when I try it out on my finger. You have Spontaneous, which is a little bit lighter. Thrill, which is like kind of a traditional gold. But then if you want to like tap into your wild side, I did a couple looks with the My Dream palette, and you can see Invention on my eye in one of the looks that I created, which is like a beautiful copper, almost like a sunset. It's like a copper orange with a hint of gold. You also have these cranberry shades in here, but Vision is of course the stunning duochrome that's in this shade. Is it green? Is it purple? Is it cranberry? It just depends. It depends on how you look at it. And so this is definitely expensive, but I love the Natasha Denona formula, and if you're looking to kind of amp up your looks a little bit, but you want something that's on the safe side, you know, because if you're not, I'm not a risk taker. If you're not a risk taker, even though it's makeup and it can wash off, this is a great palette for my non-risk taker friends. So in my intro, I said that these are 10 but 11 palettes, and that's because when I wrote my notes down in my phone, I ultimately in my head was going to pick one or the other, and then at the time of filming, I just couldn't. So I do have 2 Nomad palettes to share with you, and so I'm just gonna put them in the same category. So I do have the Ghost Town USA palette, and I have the Nomad Hudson Valley. So if we're talking about the Hudson Valley, this is gonna be a little bit more on the warm tone side. You do have some cooler shades over here, but then you have these bright warm shades over here. When you look at this, it's not going to be a traditional neutral like you would think with the My Dream palette or with the Lunar Beauty palette, but you still do have like your warmer brown tone shades. You have, of course, these 2 shimmers, which are more in the safe zone, but then you have your pops of color. You have the pop of green, you have the pop of red, you have this wine harvest shade. You do have some cooler toned shades over here. I really love the formula of Nomad Cosmetics. I have tried more and more of their palettes out lately. I do now have an affiliate code with them. It's just KBella if you're interested in saving some money. I also have an affiliate code with Natasha Denona too. I'll have all of that down in the description box. But I really enjoyed the looks that I created with this palette. Feels very fall to me. Feels very rich, warm tones, very bright. So I don't necessarily think like, oh my gosh, basic neutral palette. This really is like neutral with a twist, like neutral with a pop. It is absolutely stunning. But I couldn't pick between that one and the Ghost Town USA palette. This was the Halloween palette. Can you see the shift? The Halloween palette last year. And I really, really love this one. This is more of your cooler tones. So whereas Hudson Valley taps into those warmer tones, we really tap into the cooler tones here. We get a little bit more into the grunge with this palette here. But of course, I mean, look right here. Like neutral city here, right? So these 3 matte shades, these 3 shimmer shades, and I mean, even like this shade right here, some of these grays, just very safe, very neutral. If you're scared about tapping into color, you have those there, but then you have this bright, beautiful purple shade. You have these greens over here. You have kind of like the slate gray. There are a little bit lighter tones, a little bit deeper tones, some pops of color. And if you are more of a cool toned lover and you're kind of wanting to dabble a little bit, I really think that this would be a great palette for that. Speaking of grungy and dark and mysterious, the Unearthly Sorcerous Smoke palette, I got my hands on this, I want to say around November, and it's absolutely stunning. I love the Unearthly formula. The mattes are super creamy and blendable, but for me, it's really the shimmers. I think indie shimmers do it amazingly. These shimmers are very punchy, very bam, in your face. They're going to stand out. They have almost like little micro sparkles in them, but not glitter. I do not like glitter. I do not want glitter on my eyes. I don't want to press glitter on my eyes. I don't want it falling all over the place. This is not that. You're not going to have chunks of glitter everywhere, but they are very bright and punchy. They are going to be seen. And you really have like this middle area right here are your safe neutrals. I've created so many looks with this, tapping into those, but then when you're looking for some vibrancy and some fun, you want to get smoky, you want to incorporate this purple over here, which has some blue specks in it, absolutely beautiful. And then greens. I feel like greens are almost the safe color for neutral lovers. I mean, at least for me, it feels safe to like tap into the greens and the olives, but we really do have these beautiful green tones. This transfixed shade, it seems to be more of like a duochrome. Is it green? Is it blue? I don't know, but this palette is stunning. The formula is amazing and I love it so much. Of course, all of these palettes I think are amazing at mixing colors and neutrals together, but one palette that did an amazing, amazing job at this is a collaboration between Sigma and Angela Bright. This palette, at first, I was a little on the fence. I didn't know if it was gonna be for me because my eye is immediately drawn to the middle, to these bright pops of color and this very bright, rich green and this very bright, rich gold. And I was like, oh, it's a little intimidating, but y'all, I use this palette almost every single day. I like to go in and prime my eyes and then I like to set. I take this bare shade, I put it in the crease because I have hooded eyes. I don't want to deal with any creasing. I really love this bright shade to put on my brow bone. It's what I have in my brow bone now and tapped on the inner corner. I also really like Champagne Problems on the inner corner. And so I use those almost every single day. But with this quad right here, you really can get the neutral look of your dreams. I think this green is amazing like for holiday time, for Christmas. If you want something like very deep and rich, like an emerald, that's this one right here in Faye. You also have these like peachy brown shades over here. This Hollywood shade looks amazing with Faye. And then if you really want to do bright and bold and get a pop, you have these middle shades right here. This 2015 PDX, Evermore, and Zinfandel, which really are bold in pigment. They are blendable. They're amazing. They look great on the eyes. And overall, I am so pleased with this palette. I think that Angela and the team at Sigma, they really did an awesome job at combining the neutrals and the colors together. And again, I have an affiliate code KBella if you're interested in shopping at Sigma. We'll stick with Sigma since we're here. I do think the Sigma and the Beauty and the Beast palette also did a great job at mixing the neutrals and the colors, because you can see if you stick to this side of the palette, we have those warm brown shades, we have this beautiful white, we have this bright, bright Be Our Guest shade. I love that shimmer. It's kind of like taupe, but there's a little warmth behind it. You have this Belle shade, traditional, right? But then you have the Beast, which is a bright, rich blue. You have Enchantress, which is going to give you a big pop. And I created a look that I loved, kind kind of over in this area with Rose Petal. I did it for like a Galentine's. Now, granted, the look that you are seeing, I did use a little bit of the Sigma Nomad, the smaller palette, mixed in with this one to create that look. But over here on the side, you do just have these rich, warm purple and pink shades. I really, really like the deep blue. And again, I think Sigma did a great job at really taking those neutrals, putting them in there to provide comfort, but giving us some bright, rich pops that really hit the spot. So that brings us to the palette that I have on my eyes today. I did kind of want to do like a little bit more neutral, but a pop, right? So it's a little bit of a cooler vibe here. I like my looks to be a little bit more toned down, but I still want the rich pigment that the Amunet New from Adept gives me. I love this palette. Again, when I was talking about Unearthly and their shimmers, I feel the same way about Adept. Adept shimmers just really, really do it for me. If you are a neutral lover and you've been wanting to try Adept, but they feel a little bit more intimidating because of the bright pops of color, I really think the Amunet New, I got the light version, is a great way to tap into that, because you do have these matte shades that are more on like the toned down neutral side. You just have a brown over here. This purple is a bright pop if you're looking for something a little extra, but then of course you have like these green purple shades that feel a little bit safer. You have these green purple shades that feel a little bit safer, but this shade right here, I wore it in my look that we created in New Orleans when I did my collab with Heather Austin. That's a beautiful shade. This is the one that's on my lid right now. It looks very, very light in the pan, but it gives you like this iridescent tint. I do have this brown shade in the crease and Seth to blend it out. And I just feel like, you know, these shimmers are so rich and so pigmented and so sparkly, but again, we don't have the chunks of glitter. We just get bam, pigment in your face, and I'm here for it. I absolutely cannot talk about Adept Cosmetics without talking about the Heather Austin palette. My beautiful friend Heather created this palette with Adept. It was my first dip into the Adept pond, which is how I ended up with the Amunet New palette, because I loved the formula so much. But I really think Heather and Adept did an amazing job with this one, and I'll tell you why. Because Atlas, you can use Atlas in the crease. It's just that traditional warm brown with any of the shadows. Any single one. Put Atlas in there, any single one. If you want to take PaO2, put it on the outer corner, it's going to give you a little bit of a purple tint, but it's not going to be bold, like to the point of putting like a neon on your lid or going in with the greens. You know, it's a little bit more wearable, of like a wearable purple. And then take any of the shimmer shades, right? So Hey Y'all is a beautiful purple shade. You have 0603, which is more of like a cool toned shade. So excited. I wear that one a lot. This Passport shade is beautiful on the inner corner. Those are all going to give you more of like the neutral vibes. But then if you're feeling like you are in a mood, you want to be out there, you want people to notice you, go in with Scrubs. It's this beautiful purple blue. Can you see it there? It's this purple blue shade, or even the greens. If you go in with Magnolia and then blend it out with Mythology and put Smith or Austin on the lids, very, very beautiful and bright and bold. And I just think they did a great job at picking shadows that are complementary, and they let you experiment and get out of your comfort zone, but it's not scary for the neutral lover. Now this next palette, I almost didn't get because it is heavy on the colorful side, and I was like, oh, I just don't know if that's for me, and I was a little bit nervous, but then I saw the swatches that Manny put up using the Siren Sunset palette, and I just knew that I wanted to get my hands on it. Of course, neutrals right up here, top row, neutrals. You also have some more neutral shades kind of mixed into this bottom row right here, or this middle row with Starfish and Sea Witch. Those are more on the neutral side. You do have this cool toned mystery shade in brown. So you do have the neutrals if you are someone who wants just a quick, easy look that you don't have to think about and you're a little bit nervous about color, but man, do you get some pops. Do you get some pops of color in this palette? Rich, 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 rich purples, rich, 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 rich blues, rich, 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 rich greens. Like if you are looking for color, this is it. This is it. These shimmers are amazing. Like I said, I saw Manny swatching them and I was like, okay. If for nothing else, I wanted these shimmer shades, I played around with it again. I talked about loving the Lunar Beauty formula, and this is just another great one where you do have a mixture of the colorful shades with the neutrals. And the last palette that I wanted to share with you is from Odens Eye. It is the Odens Eye Snowdream palette. You can no longer get this one. I'm sorry, there are a few palettes in here you can no longer get, but I still wanted to mention them because if you have them, you know, and you want to experiment, this is a great time to get them out. This is the holiday collection from Odens Eye that released this year, and you might be looking at this saying, Kelly, are you okay? Are you sure it's neutral? But when I pop up this look that I created, y'all, it's neutral. And let me tell you, my husband, he does not comment on my makeup often. And not because he's doesn't think it looks beautiful, but he just knows that I like to play, I like to experiment, and so it's just kind of like an afterthought. He's used to seeing me with makeup, he's used to seeing me without makeup. We've been together for almost 18 years, like it's nothing new to him, right? But I created this eye look, and I came out into the living room and he was like, wow, I really like your eyeshadow. It looks so beautiful. And it was with the Snowdream palette. So you do have these kind of browns and golds right here. This Boots shade is very neutral. You have this neutral Goodwill shade. This one down here in Garland does pull a little bit yellow, but safe for the neutral lover. And this deep rich brown right here. And I feel like if you pair these mattes up with this shimmer shade right here, or even this gold right here, or even this more silver kind of taupey shade down at the bottom, it's going to give you a beautiful neutral look. But then when you're looking for a pop, you have these reds in here, you have these greens in here, you have these blues in here, you have this purple in here. You really can get a beautiful pop. You can even tune your pop down or go in with this lighter seafoam green shade and put Mary on top and it'll be a little bit lighter, or even use these matte shades on the lower lash line. That's a great way to incorporate a pop of color if you're maybe new to it, you're just trying to dip your toe in the pond, is taking a bright pop, a bright shade, and kind of putting that on the lower lash line and keeping the rest neutral. And this palette is great for doing that because you have such a wide variety of colors in here, and I mean, Odin's eye packaging is just so cute too. Okay, but that is going to do it for this video. Those are my 11 picks of eyeshadow palettes that really do a great job of being both neutral and colorful, like neutrals with a twist, hand in hand, putting the two together. I would love to know your thoughts down below. Are you a neutral lover? Are you a colorful lover? Are you kind of dipping your toe into both ponds like I feel like I am doing lately? I would love to know. And then of course, have you tried an eyeshadow palette, or do you have an eyeshadow palette in your collection that you feel like does a really good job of bridging the gap between neutrals and colors? I would love to know. But that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe before you go. That way I can see you in the next one. Bye.